Hey everyone, Forrest here with Rocky Mountain School of Photography, and today I want to take a look at a fantastic light for filmmakers. This right here is the key light that we've been using for 3 or 4 months now in all of our videos, except for the ones that you guys saw at home when we were all social distancing, but all of the videos that have happened in the video studio. And what this light is it's the Genaray Endeavor ML-33K. Basically, it's Genaray's version of the Aputure 120 that was so popular and is so popular with YouTubers. Now, a few months ago, Genaray reached out and asked me if I'd be interested in reviewing this light. And immediately I jumped on it because for years I've looked up to this style of lighting. I think you'd be hard pressed to find any pro YouTuber these days who's not using some Aputure light with this same modifier for the key light in their videos. So what do I have going on right here? Well, like I mentioned, I have the Genaray Endeavor ML-33K, which is about a $340 light sold by B&H. Attached to that, I have an angular 48-inch deep parabolic softbox, which can be purchased for about $150. So all in, this is about a $490, $500 lighting setup that I think looks absolutely fantastic. For a quick comparison, let me throw up what we used to use on the screen. The image that you're seeing right now is our old 3-light setup. It used a key light, a fill light, and a kicker light. And you'll notice that the drama and the shadow is nothing to what we have now. We just simply weren't able to create that same level of luxurious, beautiful, soft light that this setup is able to do. So what I want to do in the video today is I want to take a look at this modifier, take a look at this light, look at what makes it good, what things I think could be improved on it, and also talk about its usefulness for both photographers and videographers. Let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so what I just did was actually threw our old key light up on the stand, which is a Genaray 1000-watt light panel, or 1000 LED light panel. I shouldn't say watt because it doesn't actually pull that much power. But instantly you guys can probably see the difference. This thing is magenta, it spills onto the background, it doesn't give nearly the quality of light that the Genaray Endeavor does. So what I want to do first is look at the externals of the Endeavor and talk a little bit about what its feature set is. So first of all, it comes just with the light head itself. I'm just making sure you guys can see that, there we are, as well as a nice reflector. So real easy, you guys can see the front of the light head right there. Looks nice, it's got a big heat sink around it. On the back, we've got a couple controls. So for the main thing, we've got just a standard plug to plug in the power. Super simple, it just uses a computer power plug. We have an on-off switch. We also have a dimmer control, and the dimmer control basically has 10 steps. It kind of seems like it'll be a smooth gradation, but it's definitely a digital control. It runs from 10, 20, 30, 40, all the way up to 100%. So you've got essentially 10 or 9 brightness settings that you can utilize. Super easy. It also has a setting for channel and group because you can actually remotely control this. So if you have multiple lights, multiple Endeavors, all on different stands, different places, you can set them to different channels and groups and have remote control of them. So that was pretty cool. I don't think most people are gonna use that. Again, most people, I think you're just gonna buy one of these with a nice modifier and use it as your key light. Now, one other thing that I want to point out that's super nice is down on the bottom there is actually a DC in port, and B&H sells a DC adapter that you can use the big V-mount cinema batteries with this light, which is really cool. If you're going to go somewhere that you don't have the ability to use electric like 110 power, this can actually run on DC 24 volts, which is a really cool feature. Now, the front of this light does use the Bowens modifier adapter standard, so it's not like a pro photo adapter, which is what we mostly use here at the school. It's Bowens, which is fine. It's just the way that different modifiers attach to it. It's real easy. Your modifiers slide in like this, and then they twist and they've locked, and then you can release this little catch right here and take it off very simply and easily. So I really like the externals. I think they included a lot of things. Obviously, it's got a standard pivot mount, real easy to use, real straightforward. And again, it just creates a beautiful quality of light. One thing I will say with the externals and the function of it, there is a fan inside of this light that runs occasionally. So if your microphone is ever gonna be close to the light source, I don't really see how often that would happen, but maybe if you're using the built-in mic on your camera, you may hear some fan noise kick on and off at some points. I've found it probably runs maybe 50% of the time when you're at 100% power, and obviously less as the power is reduced. All right, now let's take a look at the modifier. So this little beast right here, I say little beast really nicely here, this big beast is the angular quick open 48-inch parabolic softbox. And it is absolutely amazing. So it uses the Bowens mount, which is what is compatible with this light. And very easily, it's those standard 3 pins that I just showed earlier. But it also features the quick open and close function that Angular has come up with. Other light companies use this too. I don't mean to say that it's just Angular. But what you can do, and I'm gonna make sure this is on focus here, what we can do is to collapse this beast, there's all these buttons around here, and when you push each one, it lets the pins collapse on it. And basically what we're able to do is very quickly and easily collapse down this whole modifier. Those of you who've ever used like traditional softboxes, you know how amazing this is right now because you've suffered. But you guys can see it all flattens up super small, excuse the noise, and you're able to pack this thing and bring it with you very, very easily. So that is awesome. And then to build it again, you just pull these pins up and they lock automatically. So the light is great. Light has very good color accuracy. There's not a lot of green and magenta hue to it. Like, that's all awesome. But you really want to pair it with this modifier for the ultimate setup. So now that we've looked at the externals of the light, I've thrown it back on the stand, and what I want to talk a little bit about is the performance in both video and photo use. So first of all, the modifier and the light are different things. The Endeavor ML-33K is the light, and the light on its own is fine. We looked at the externals of that, but when paired with this modifier is really where it becomes magical. Parabolic reflectors create such a beautiful quality of light on your subject's face, it's hard to beat, honestly. Now, this is a soft light, and what I mean by that is it's not a pinpoint light source. The closer that I get to this light, both the brighter the light is going to be on my face, but also the softer the light is going to be. Light is all about the relationship of the size of the light source and how big it is in relation to the subject matter. So as I get closer to it, it gets bigger in relation to me, and therefore the light will get softer, which is pretty awesome. For video, this is great, and the ML-33K produces quite a bit of light that I'm able to actually shoot on the lowest ISO. I'm at ISO 320 on this video camera right now at 1/48 of a second, and I'm shooting at f1.4. The light is also not at 100%, it's down around 80%. So right off the bat, it produces enough light to comfortably shoot at 24 frames per second on a cinema camera or a DSLR or whatever you happen to be using. Now, the light also can be run without a modifier if you're looking for a hard light, but honestly, I think the best factors of this light are when paired with this specific modifier. If you're looking for a one light setup for video, this is hard to beat. You guys think about this for those of you who are video shooters. There's no longer setting up other lights. It's just one light. You throw it on a stand, you crack it open, you get it close to your subject, and all of a sudden you've got beautiful soft light without having to add a fill, without having to add anything else. If you want it softer, you can move your subject closer to it. If you want it harder, you can move your subject back. Let's now talk about the photo performance. So in the world of artificial lighting for photography, what we really care about is total light output of the light. We got to think we have aperture, we have ISO, and we have shutter speed, and we usually know what we want 2 or 3 of those things to be. So what I've got is a light meter right here, and I just want to take some measurements of what this light reads at different settings so we can get an idea of how bright it is as a photographer. Right now I'm about 3 or 4 feet away from the front of this light. Obviously, as we moved in closer or further, it's going to affect the amount of light that we've got, but at this distance, let's go ahead and take some readings. What I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna put the light on maximum output. So give me 1 second. All right, so you'll notice I brightened up a little bit in the video, but let's go ahead and take some readings now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set my ISO to 100. I'm just using an artificial light meter here just for a quick minute, just because it's easier than pointing a camera around. And this will actually read the light falling onto the meter versus reflected light. It just makes things a bit simpler. So we're gonna go to ISO 100, and then I'm gonna set my shutter speed to something like 1/125 of a second. Because this isn't a strobe, you're gonna wanna use a fast enough shutter speed to stop whatever action it is you're shooting. So if you're shooting a person, you're probably gonna wanna use 1/125th, 1/250th to counteract any of your movement as a photographer, as well as any of the movement of the person. Let's go ahead and put this right in my face and take a meter reading, and we can see that it reads at f1.4, essentially right on the dot at f1.4. So that means that we could shoot 1/125th of a second at ISO 100 at f1.4. That's not a lot of light. And what I mean by that is we don't have a lot of wiggle room in our shutter speed, or our aperture for that matter. F1.4 isn't even capable on some lenses. Like a lot of lenses can't open up that much, which means we would be stuck more at f2.8. If we're stuck at f2.8 or even f4, we're gonna have to use a 30th or a 15th of a second on our shutter speed, or we're gonna have to increase our ISO. So the reason that I wanted to do this was just to show you guys that this light is definitely built around video shooters. It's a beautiful photo light, creates a beautiful quality of light as we can see with the video, but it doesn't have the light output of a strobe unit. Strobes that pop, that have a very quick flash duration, can usually put out much more light and allow us to either A, use a faster shutter speed, although strobes have some limitations there, or more importantly, use a more stop down aperture if you're doing some product photography work or you want a little bit more freedom there with your depth of field. Okay, so how would I conclude this? Well, here's what I would say. If you are a video shooter and you want a fantastic key light and honestly only light for your setup, I think the Endeavor ML-33K paired with the angular 4-foot deep parabolic softbox is an unbeatable combination. To get this quality of light for under $500 is just simply not, it's amazing. It's really, really cool. So if you're a video person, I highly recommend this. If you're a photographer, on the other hand, who shoots in a very wide open aperture style, and you don't mind sometimes having to use ISO 200 or 400 in certain situations, I think this can be a great photo light as well. The only thing is with photography, you're gonna be limited more with a light like this than you are with something like a strobe. But for a $490 for both of these, picking it up for doing mostly video and a little bit of photo work, I think this is an unbeatable deal. So I would totally check this thing out. I've left a link down in the description. I absolutely adore this. Again, just to show you guys, I wanna show you the old lighting we used to have in the old video studio. This was using 3 or 4 lights to make this happen compared to just one light, which costs less than all 3 of those lights put together. So that's pretty darn awesome. Better light for cheaper. Highly recommend it. Check it out down in the description and pick one up. If you guys like this video, I'd love you to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. If you didn't like it, you know what to do. If you guys have a question about a certain light, leave it in the comment section down below. Hit subscribe to be updated when we post future videos, as long as the little bell icon is turned on. Ring that little bell, turn it on. Subscribe up there or down there. Special thanks to Canon for sponsoring this video, and I will check you guys out in the next one.